this is no surprise in actuality because with the Delta variant spreading throughout the country, we're seeing kind of the start-stop again. Remember last year we saw, the economy started going and started getting going, albeit in a much smaller pace. The same things happened. The unemployment numbers came out around 516,000 or so. And that's, what happens here is that number has been remaining somewhat constant. And the next thing to say to yourself is, okay, well, what happens if we start restrictions again? And how is that? I think that's more important than the numbers that we've seen. And that's because if with the spread of the Delta variant and the other variants potential spread, we have to say to ourselves, is that going to put more people on the unemployment rolls? Is it going to lower production numbers? Just a couple of weeks ago, we were just talking about inflation and how that had reared its ugly head. And now, not so much. We're not talking so much about it because it's not as big as a factor as if you keep having growing unemployment numbers and GDP numbers that are not in line with what we've been seeing. So we have to keep that in mind. And with so, you have to approach whatever investments you're going into the markets with that caution and not just throw caution to the wind. You have to move forward and move forward strategic. But I would ask myself this, we're going to see some sort of slowdown with the Delta variant. That's absolutely, and that's kind of what I alluded to a while back with this start-stop in the economy. But you cannot compel people to get vaccinated if you're public government. I think that's going to get thrown into the courts, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your point of view. This in turn will up the numbers of the unemployment roll. It's going to, we saw some record consumer confidence numbers that had come out, but that has been tempered down by the growth potential in this country and the Delta variant. So that's going to have somewhat of an effect. However, I don't see that, depending on how we respond to this Delta variant and how many people decide to get vaccinated, because yesterday, we saw 500,000 people here in the United States get vaccinated. We haven't seen that number in months. So maybe this is motivating people to go do that. And in turn, maybe that can be the catalyst to grow the numbers here in the United States and actually lower the unemployment numbers because everybody's getting vaccinated. The remaining part of the populace, ex the under 12 years old children. And they're coming out with solutions that probably around Christmas, they've been talking about that. So just something to keep in mind going forward. Companies, I believe, are going to compel their workers to get vaccinated or do testing. You're going to have to do one or two. You're not going to have a choice. They're going to bring you in there and say, well, if you don't want the vaccine, we're going to test you every week. Here in New York City, they're doing that. That's something that they're putting in place for immediate effect. So once again, what effect is that going to have on the on economics, on the markets? Wait and see. It's coming. Whether it be inflation, whether it be the fact that you're loaning out $120 billion a month, which the talk of yesterday was that they were going to wind that down by December. And now you're saying to yourself, if you're the Fed, are we going to have to start raising interest rates if the growth of the economy starts getting away? Everybody asks me that, and I tell everybody the same thing. That really is up to you. I will give you some points that I think are safe at this particular point. And that really is to stay the course. You really have to believe in what you're investing in. Should you lighten up on some of your aggressive things? I think that if the price drops down, that you should get even more. I think there's much more opportunity in this market, even with everything that's going on. And I've been proven right every single time that a drop occurs. it's a buying opportunity. And you want to make sure you get in there and pick up some high quality bargains. Does this mean we're going to bonds right now? We here at Larrea Wealth are not going to bonds right now. We have an allocation of bonds that we're fairly comfortable with. Will we buy bonds to sell them in a short-term mode? Yeah, we'll do that. But it's really for appreciation. We're not doing it for income. I mean, we could do it for income if we laddered it out and such, but that's not really our focus. We want, if we can turn around, say a bond is trading at 800 and we can sell it at 1100, sure, we'll do something like that every single day if it's available. So yeah, we're doing that. Another thing I would imagine that I feel is very important is to remember your time horizon. A lot of people are trading for the next 12 months, they're trading for the moment, and they forget, hey, I may not retire for another 25 years, and I have to respond accordingly. That's why I talk about with everybody, be strategic. Don't be afraid to get in. Be smart. You know, you have 20 years, time's on your side, and there's a good chance, even with a market drop, that your money's going to come back and roaring back, you know, and you may quadruple your money in that time period. That's not unheard of. That has historically happened, and you have to be ready for that kind of move. And the last thing, keep things in perspectives, because sometimes we lose perspective. All these things are happening to us. And I say keep perspective because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. However, if we control our emotions and keep investing the way we've been doing, we should come out ahead. And hopefully you're getting together with your advisor and or people who think alike, and you're doing the right moves. And if you're not sure, there's always help out there. I don't know if the worst is over. I mean, I think that, you know, this was certainly a test of cryptocurrencies metal, you know, to see if they had the right stuff, and people were jumping off as fast as they were jumping on. I think that, as I've stated before, this is the future. People are going to start, people and institutions are still going to go in there, still going to have an interest in cryptocurrency. It is not going to be the dominant market by no stretch of the imagination. I really believe that. However, I do believe it will be enough of a market that will get serious attention and serious investment. And to that, I really believe that there's huge opportunities in terms of gains. So maybe we had a pause, and maybe we had a little brief moment of being scared, but that's okay. That's what investments are about. If investments were just this straight line and we go across, it'd be really boring, and nobody would want to do it. And crypto's just been one of those things. I mean, if you owned it a couple of years ago, you bought it at $10,000 a coin, and now you're up. So there's plenty of the opportunity. There's talk of 50K, but why not 100K? You know, if enough institutions come aboard, you never know. And there's plenty of opportunity for that. So stay tuned.